Hello, everyone. It is I, Samuel Alexander. This is actually a third take. I don't like doing more than one take. It happens. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. If something's trash, it's trash. But this is a poetry reading from my fourth book titled Kevin in the I See Things in Blue series. Um, it's titled Today. It's the short version of the following poem, which is why it says intro, today intro. And the reason it says that is because I have really lofty ideas, big dreams, that I'd make a poetry album. And some of the things in them would actually be songs. And this is one of them. But there is not enough time in the day when you're up at 5:30, travel an hour to work, finish work at 5:30, then have to catch the bus back home if you don't do anything after work that needs to be done, like, shopping so you can feed yourself. And then you don't get back home until approximately quarter to seven, depending on how full the buses are, because everybody gets off at work around that time. And it's also rush hour. So, in all fairness, if I get on the bus at 6, I'm getting home after 7. It's going to take me a solid 20 minutes or more, the 30, the extra minutes that would get me there in under an hour to get out of the traffic. So you might as well just tack 20 minutes onto it and call it a day, because that's what happens. And then I want to eat and change my clothes out of my work clothes. And by the time I finally settle in, it's close to 8. And I have to decide if either fitness, being an author and doing book stuff like I'm doing now, or just wasting away watching, Netflix and Prime and things like that is better for my, mental health and sanity. And there's no way, I physically do not have enough time in the day to do them all. And that's the real reason I'm trying to punch these out. If I'm lucky, I can get through the last three books: Kevin, Acceptance, Lewis, and Found. So I was right the first time for today. And then all I will have to do is rename them, because I don't name them. I just hit stop and I just keep punching, which is why I need to say what I'm doing at the beginning so I know what's happening. But that is the plan, and fingers crossed that I can do it. But no, I don't, and that's why I'm trying to gym fast, because fitness is this year's thing, and flexibility, because the one thing I am not is flexible, and it's problematic in a lot of situations. We bend down, or have to pick things up or reach in awkward places more often than you realize. And being able to move your move have more mobility. Mobility is the better word than flexible. Is actually pretty handy. I'm 44. I'm not too old yet. I can make it happen. So yeah. So all of that to say, it didn't pan out. I kind of remember the tune for this, and that's odd because I remember the tune for every single thing I put a tune to. But it really fell by the wayside that badly, because one, I couldn't afford to be in the studio and also write books, because editing and everything else takes up time. So that's why the idea for creating a CD in its entirety and this kind of fell by the wayside. Like, a lot goes into this, and again, like I feel like I already said, if I don't have time in the previous book, is that sometimes people quite genuinely don't have time. And it isn't an excuse to have to give up something to do something else. And life is about sacrifice. And maybe they just aren't willing to sacrifice something that means more to them, no matter whether it's the best thing to someone on the outside. To them, it is the most important thing, and no, they are not sacrificing it. So all of that to say, a lot of the big dreams that I had cost money, and I don't sell enough books for that. And secondly, they require time, and I have a full-time day job that sometimes has me there from 7 to 7, and sometimes I work every single day of the week. So at some point, the books don't write themselves, and sleep is always the thing that goes. If I decide to do everything, which I haven't done in a hot minute, like even before I wrote the last book, I really don't sleep, because there simply isn't enough time for fitness, writing books, working, and I don't really do anything leisurely regularly, but I definitely don't have time to do anything, even watching series. Like, there's this game that I play right now that I'm about to stop playing because I quite literally won't have time to be online gaming. And that is the reality for some people that, and sometimes people choose joy, and dreams fall by the wayside. So I am. This is the batter take. This is the third one because I rambled on the other one, but it wasn't quite as concise. And the other thing about, admitting defeat, I guess, is that I generally do one takes and then do two if I fuck them up. But in this case, the very odd stutter that I have, because right now I'm in mellow, sound like I'm stuffy, even though I'm really not. Kind of speech patterns. And if I actually give conversation and speech and my art the energy that's required to sell it at its best, that's too much. I will start fumbling and I will start stuttering, and it feels like a tick, but it doesn't always look like one. But it just feels like I'm, jotting, and I can't get the words out, even though they're there. So it's not like I'm not trying to find the words, I just don't have them. And after sitting in it, I realized that, I just have to redo them all. And I feel like I already said that. Like, I'm having such a horrible time, guys. Because I remember counting the books and saying that I should do them all. And I don't even know if it was in this take. Like, or if it was in the last one, which would have been take two. That's exactly how my brain is functioning these days. So before I dig myself any further into this lapse of, tiredness, I'm so glad to not be working on a Sunday. When I say customer service wears you out, y'all, I'm still rambling, but the poem's real short. It does, and dealing with humans all day, it does. And that's why I'm so confused about this take. I don't even know what I've said. And I think that means I've said enough. So without, pushing it any longer, and you're going to keep hearing this, one last derail. This is a spinner ring. It says love. I'm not going to point at love, and the background is a rainbow. Stressful situations, the boss, dealing with customer service. Now, they come in handy when you're me as a neurodivergent and ADHD and all of that. They come in handy for me. So I don't know if they'll work for anyone else, but they're definitely useful. So if you haven't tried one, and I have two, I have the same ring in black. And sometimes I wear them both so I can get both my thumbs working because stress, y'all. But anyway, here's the poem. It is titled Today Intro. When faced with the unknown, the unseen, when faced with the prospect of tomorrow, why not choose to live life for today, where everything's alright and everything's okay? But is that the right reason for me to choose, to decide to live life for today? Now this one's in Kevin. Kevin is just like Raylan and Gavin. I really shouldn't have. But when the characters were underdeveloped, as the test reader said, it didn't matter that Kevin was named Kevin because he didn't feature that much. I mean, Gavin was named Gavin because he didn't feature that much. And Kevin was supposed to be the main character, and Daria was supposed to be the love interest. That didn't work out either. So it wasn't really intended for Kevin to be the love interest and Daria the main character, or B for Gavin and Rayland and Lewis, which is Daria's Stapian father figure, to have so much page time, because that was just not the intent. But yeah, Kevin and Gavin. So he's definitely comfortable in his sexuality, confident in who he is, comes from a supportive household, so it doesn't matter what he chooses to be in life, they absolutely don't care. And they will 100% step behind him. And that is the environment that he's used to. Whereas Dario comes from an environment where his entire existence is built around trying to get the love from his parents that they will never give him. So his whole aura, his whole being, his whole everything is a lie. And this is a foreign kind of concept to him, even though he has two, three actually, kind of like solid, stereotypical, average family household, his two best friends and Lewis's, um, around him, you know, it's just one more version of normal that enters into his world at a certain time in his life when he needs it. And this poem is about really choosing the wrong reasons to live in the moment. Because they always say YOLO or Carpe Diem, seize the day, and things like that. And I'll probably say it again in the next poem because that one's titled Today, because this is the intro to today, is that intent is a thing. And a lot of the times, I think people choose to just live for the day because, tomorrow may never come. But what if it does? The decisions that you make today, like you deal with it tomorrow, but we don't live in these kind of singular worlds. When I walk out the door, I have to interact with the bus driver. And when I sit down, I have to deal with the people who are on the bus that are talking. When I make a quick decision at work, as a sales, agent, I have to think about how that will affect the other people. Like if something goes wrong, I'm definitely team I can't ignore it. I'm going to try to fix it because the same thing that went wrong for me is going to go wrong for my coworkers when they try to scan or price an item, because it's a fix I can't fix. I must go to the warehouse and have them search into the computers and find out what the situation is. And that's pretty much how I think about everything. They even have people, I'm probably going to repeat this too, like, who will come up to self checkout in such a rush that if something goes wrong, instead of being patient enough to wait for an assistant, they will just move to another one. But the problem with that is that if you've kind of broken or held up a machine and you walk away, no one else can use it because you abandoned it. And I genuinely don't understand that kind of thinking. Like, today is the day. My needs right now at the moment are the only important needs, and that's how I'm going to go through life. And that's kind of what this poem is about, when dealing with the unknown and dealing with what may have passed. But this one doesn't really touch on the past. What do you do? Do you just live like today is the only day that matters? And if that is your option, is that really the best option? And personally, my take is that it isn't, because I'm doing all of these videos because I'm hoping that someone will read them and that some poems will land, that maybe I might sell some more books, and maybe it'll give people a better insight into who I am and how I write. And maybe, since it's poetry, they may learn something about themselves when they associate the poem to them. And that's just a little bit of things. I think about these things when I do things. Like, I never just think about them like I'm a poet, I'm writing a poem today, and then I'm done. I'm conscious of how the lines and things go together, just like the borderline of young adult versus adult, whereas I can say so much and put so much material in the book. I just can't physically show it. And that's such a weird line to navigate, but I did it for 7 books, so yay me. So that's what I feel like this one is about. And as it associates to Kevin, he's very live in the moment without neglecting the fact that his choices have consequences. So you can live for today while also being aware that tomorrow is coming, and that whatever you choose to do today will affect the people that are in your core group and also affect you. And you can't always be like, well, I'll just deal with it tomorrow, because depending on the type of problem, a little bit of prep would have helped you out. And you may not be able to quick fix it like you think, because you thought, I'm just not going to deal with it. But he's not really like that. He's aware, but he's definitely confident and calm and cool with who he is and accepting of that. Much like Raylan, like, I am what I am, but I can also be this and conscious of what my friends and my core group are going through, and not just be 100% live in the moment, and everybody else needs to get on board because I don't care. And I think that's really what this is about. A lot of the poems in here are going to be difficult, now that I'm at 15 minutes, um, because of I don't really have any poems that kind of speak to this. The same way with Raylan. Like some of them landed as Raylan, but they're all roundabout ways in describing, how Dario lives and how they see his life. And it was easier for the other four books, 4, 5. But I think I did okay. And I'm running out of things to say. I might take this off because I don't know how bad the sound comes through, and since I don't watch these things, we're not taking that chance. But as per usual, if you've made it this far, thanks for stopping by.